huge news dropping that Giannis is being traded to the Miami Heat from the Milwaukee Bucks for a haul.
I kind of always thought it was going to be to Bance after the injury stuff for Peterson. Cam Boozer, good player, but I don't think he was ever that number one pick quality.
Put some respect on Cape Verde's name, dude. There's always that small team that's punching above their weight that like is the talk of the tournament.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the From the Stands podcast. We are back for episode number 109 of the old pod here on this June 23rd, right in the middle of World Cup season, which we will be talking about quite a bit on this here podcast. Also, some NBA news going down. It's not too often that we're coming with you with NBA off-season news, just because it tends to be a little bit more quiet. We do have the NBA draft going on, which we won't touch on quite as much, but yeah, Fezzy boy, how are things? Tell the people what we got coming up.
Yes, sir. Before we get into everything, though, if everyone could please like and subscribe on the video here on YouTube, that would help us out a ton. Like Sammy Boy said, great episode. I'm going to talk some NBA because we had some big time draft news come down yesterday, I believe. And then obviously the NBA draft just popped up on me, dude. I was like at work today and heard someone say like, oh yeah, the NBA draft's today. And I was like, dude, I've been so locked into the World Cup and everything else. I was just like, man, that's
Happened
already
so
here.
quick after the season too.
Yeah, I was like, I guess it does come around in June almost every year. You know, that's just a thing. But, you know, time's just been flying by. I've been super busy. So, but yeah, interesting to dive into some of that. Like Sam said, we're not going to dive too deep into all the NBA stuff just because, I mean, we have literally the biggest sporting event in the entire world going on, which kind of takes precedence. So, yeah, but everything's been going good here. Just trying to stay cool. How about you, Sam? Any big project? You said you went to Atlanta off pod.
I did.
Went to a little Braves game. How was that?
Yeah, spent the day in Atlanta, went to the Braves game. Ended up being a great game because, well, the first half was kind of mid, but weather was good. It was kind of overcast, so it wasn't like super 95-degree sunny, humid the whole time. First half of the game was kind of mid. Nobody scored. There wasn't really much going on. I had no hitter through like 4 or 5 innings. And then it kind of came alive in the second half. And then we had a walk-off homer, Ozzie Albies, second home run of the afternoon for him. But yeah, I've never heard a crowd pop like that in person, so it was pretty sweet. Saturday afternoon game, so a lot of people there and everything, so it was a good vibe for sure. That stadium is impressive, dude. It's pretty new. It's nice. I think they built in 2018, 19, somewhere around there.
Okay.
It's pretty sweet. It's huge. Like, even we were like on the third deck, but the seats are so steep you feel like you're right there, which I feel like is pretty common of most stadiums that are newer. But yeah, it was awesome. It's a good time in Atlanta too. It's a good time.
Dude. Did you go with some of your like work friends, some of your boys? Like,
yeah, some of the boys from church. We went down there for the day, and then just hung out. And the Braves game was the last thing that we did. So
nice.
Just had a good old time with the boys. So a lot of World Cup vibes in Atlanta for sure, as you can imagine. But yeah, that was one of the days that none of the games were going on, unfortunately. But still, it was. I mean, there's World Cup stuff like everywhere. So
everywhere, yeah.
Lots of fans too, like just random fans of the teams that were there. Like a lot of Spain people, tons of Mexico jerseys. I know Mexico hasn't played in Atlanta yet, but World Cup vibes were high for sure.
Yeah, dude, that's sick. Yeah, I want to go to a Braves game so bad. Still haven't since I moved.
I haven't been either until this past weekend. So
nice. That's sick. I'm glad you got to do that. Yeah, I almost went. Right before Brandon's wedding, like the day before, we were all in Atlanta, and I had a friend invite me, and I was just like, it just didn't work out with the timing and stuff like that. So, a little unfortunate, but definitely need to get to one here soon.
Tickets aren't bad, so.
Yeah, tickets aren't bad. I looked it up and I was like, dude, that's really not that expensive. Just the drive there and back. Like, obviously when we went to Atlanta, you know, we have a whole vlog and stuff. You guys want to go watch that? watch the USA
Yes,
Portugal game before
sir.
the World Cup. That was sick. But dude, the traffic there is no joke. We were literally like, no joke, 5 miles away from the stadium, and it was like still like a 25-30 minute, almost 40 minute drive to the stadium with the traffic. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
oh,
We
this is
got
crazy.
lucky with the traffic, thankfully, this past weekend. But like we always rag on the Greenville drivers, but like the Atlanta drivers are 10 times
Got to figure
worse,
it out.
dude. Like it's insane. Like just the fact that you like spend a weekend there and get back safely, like without incident, is like
Mm-hmm.
something you should be thankful for. I feel like because it's just
For real.
the stuff you see like right in front of you. It's just
I
insane.
know.
So pretty wild.
Dude, I know. Yeah, didn't we see someone like get like pulled over like right next to us, like on the side of the road? Like
Yeah,
they
something
flew
like
out in
that.
like front of a cop, and the cop was just like, what are you doing, buddy?" And like pulled him
Idiot.
over like literally like 10 yards right in front of us. We are just like, what are we watching right now?
I know.
Absolutely crazy. But I'm sure like you said, the World Cup vibes are probably super high with Spain and everything there, dude. Super bad that I can't go to a game. It hurts so much. I was telling Taylor today because she was telling me about someone from our church that just went all the way to the West Coast to watch the USA games. And I was just like, I'm sitting here like, where do you have this money and the time and all
I
this
know.
other stuff? And I'm just like, I can't even go to Atlanta to watch Haiti versus freaking the
Yeah.
Congo or whatever,
That
whoever's
that
playing
that would have
there.
been me if Romania would have qualified. Romania would have played US in Inglewood, so
Yeah,
would have had to go
taking
to
out a
that
little,
one.
taking out a little personal loan there, but
Yeah, exactly. But
yeah.
no,
But
I've
funny
had
enough, sorry, go
lots
ahead.
of friends that have gone to like Atlanta, especially, and I'm just like so jealous. Like,
I
man,
know, dude. I want to go so bad. I don't even care who's playing. I just want to go to a World Cup game. That'd be so much fun. But funny enough that you bring up Spain because I told you off pod, but I do have a video that I want you to react to, and it's
boy.
about one of your favorite players. I say that sarcastically,
Mm.
Lamine Yamal. So this could be interesting. Obviously, everybody that has been this is the first time we're reacting to something like this on the podcast. So let's see if it actually
They've
works. I
already
had it
seen it.
working before you hopped on, but yeah, just for a little context, it's been quite amazing, I guess is the word I'll say more like appalling just listening to all the different USA like American
The
pundits try to
pundits, yeah,
talk soccer for the first time. It's just some of the stuff that
so
comes
bad.
out of their mouth, and this was one of the worst ones that I heard this past week on my For You page. So just let me know if you don't hear it or whatever, but yeah, we'll see if this works.
Lamine Yamal wipes the floor with any American teenager in the history of American sport. Wipes the floor. 16 years old, wins the Euros. 18 years old, scores in a World Cup. Also, MVP of La Liga in a league with the likes of Mbappe. There is no American playing an American sport, I would suggest in the history of American sports, that can compare with what Lamine Yamal has done as a teenager. No American teenager can compare with him as a teenager. World is where Lamine Yamal, both at 16 with the Euros and now at 18 in the World Cup, is imposing his will and leaving his impression on a sport. What LeBron James did as a teenager, absolutely incredible. Youngest teenager, 40-point game. Youngest person to 1,000 points as a teenager. Rookie of the year. All these things LeBron James did as a teenager, absolutely incredible, while playing against the athletes of the National Basketball Association. Not the world. Not the world.
How we feel about that, Sammy boy? Lamine Yamal, the GOAT?
I actually don't disagree that much with him.
Really?
Yeah. I
Really?
mean, if you break down what he's saying at his age and the players that he's going up against, it's not that far fetched. Like what teenager, I mean, LeBron's a good comp. I mean, him going directly to the league, but he was said what, 17, 18,
Yeah.
going to the league, playing against obviously grown men there, but like Lamine Yamal at 16, I don't know. I don't completely disagree. Where do you disagree with it?
I don't know, just the fact that he's putting his name in the same stratosphere as like some of these elite athletes. I
It
guess
is.
where
It's early. I agree with that. Yeah.
yeah, and so And I get what he's saying. Like the sample size that he's taking is like them as a teenager in their prospective sports. And I do agree with like what you're agreeing with. Like, yeah, Lamine Yamal plays against like athletes around the world in different leagues. Like, because you have the Champions League, you have La Liga, then obviously you're playing the World Cup, and so you're playing all these different countries, all these different athletes. But like, I guess where I initially thought he was going and probably stuck in my head, maybe it's wrong, but like I thought he was trying to say like Lamine Yamal just like athletically is
I thought
like
that's where he
playing
was going
against
as
like
well.
more
Yes.
more top notch athletes, and I'm just like that doesn't like
Yeah. No,
I
I
don't
agree
know
with that.
basketball. Like people debate what takes more athleticism, like basketball or soccer, and like I don't know. The athletes that we have playing NBA basketball are insane. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess
if
it's
he's
just how you
going
look
that
at it.
route, I think his delivery was a little bit like choppy, I
Yeah.
guess. But if he's going that right, obviously I would disagree. But I think what he was more trying to say is like out of all athletes that we've seen that are teenagers, to to do what he is doing at the level that he is doing it at, and the tenderness in age. I mean, he was playing for
Mm.
Barcelona as a borderline starter at 16 years old, playing for Spain at the Euros and contributing. How I've been on the pod obviously hating him for being overrated, because two things can be true. He's an extremely impressive teenager at 16, 17, 18 years old, but he also gets, I think, a little bit too much hype. Like, he shouldn't have been in the Ballon d'Or conversations. He does get pocketed against big teams sometimes, but it's still, obviously I'm going to admit that what he's doing at his age is incredibly impressive. So, um, yeah, if he's saying he's more athletic than a 17, 18-year-old LeBron, obviously I disagree with that. But I think if you take a step back and analyze what he may have been trying, maybe he's not trying to say that at all, and maybe he is delusional, but I can kind of see
Maybe.
what he's maybe trying to say.
Yeah, I think what you said right there was perfect. Like I think initially what he was saying was like more to like grab attention, and then he went into an argument that actually made sense. So it was
Yeah,
kind of
I
like this
agree.
contradicting like viewpoint, and I was just stuck on the fact that he was just like Lamine Yamal wipes the floor with any American teenager ever, and I'm just
Yeah,
like,
that's
in my head, I
right.
go, "What the frick?" I guess it served its purpose. Maybe we need to learn something from that. Maybe we just need to
Maybe.
say crazy things. I don't
Yeah.
know. I thought we have some pretty strong takes, but anyways, yeah, that was the first time we actually did like a. I think we reacted to a video before, but that actually worked
Yeah.
pretty good. I didn't know if it would work. Riverside usually gives us some trouble, but yeah, talking a little NBA, talking a little soccer. If you're anything like me, you love hats, but not just any hats. You want a hat that looks good, but is also made with quality materials as well. And you want it to fit just the way you want it to. That's why we've partnered with Cowboy Revolution Apparel Company to bring you guys hats that do just that. I love my Cowboy Revolution hats. They're rugged and aesthetic. So whether I'm at work or podcasting, I know my hats will hold up and look great. They not only have hats, but a wide variety of apparel and accessories as well. Cowboy Revolution is also a veteran-owned and operated company, so you know where your money is going and you can feel good about it. Get your hats and apparel today at cowboyrevolution.com and use the code FTS15 for 15% off your order, or use the link in the description below. That's FTS15 for 15% off your order today. The first part of the podcast where we're going to talk NBA with some giant news coming down.
Huge.
Was it yesterday? I'm getting my days mixed up this entire week. I'm pretty sure it was like last night. I'm pretty
Last night
sure.
around 11:30, I think.
Yeah, around 11:30 last night. Huge news dropping that Giannis is being traded to the Miami Heat from the Milwaukee Bucks for a haul. The Heat are sending Tyler Hero, why am I blanking? Jaime Jaquez Jr. Where Yakachonis, is that how you say it? I'm horrible with the European names.
Sure, it's close enough.
Okay, awesome. Close enough. And then a bunch of first round picks, a bunch of second round picks later on, like 2030, 2033, but just a massive, massive haul for obviously, a very, very good player. Great when he's healthy, but I guess I want to get your reaction first. What was your reaction to the news? Whether you saw it last night or this morning or whenever you saw it, what were your first thoughts?
Yeah, it actually went down after I went to bed. Usually, like I checked my notifications the next morning. I was like, that was literally 5 minutes after I went to bed, which was kind of funny. But what's up with all these NBA deals going down at midnight, man? It's just
I
crazy.
guess they
But
know. They know.
um, yeah, finally, obviously, his Giannis saga has felt like it's gone on for like 2 years now. With him wanting out, the Bucks seemingly being open for a little while now, but not being able to get the right deal. Giannis told everybody that he was down to just two teams, Celtics and the Heat, which I was a little bit confused about the Heat because it kind of seems like it's a little bit of a lateral move here for Giannis. Obviously, Miami has, the attractiveness of, the city and, being in a beach town, all the things that come with that. So that kind of goes without saying. But as far as the basketball portion of it, I feel like it's a little bit of a lateral move. Obviously, it's not the Bucks, where the Bucks are just it's literally Giannis and a bunch of, terrible, role players at best. So he does have a couple good pieces there, like Bam. Tyler Hero's now going the other way. Doesn't have him anymore. He was kind of in and out of the lineup. So it was a little bit hard to see it from a basketball perspective, but obviously that's probably more the deal that the Bucks wanted because they were getting all the first round picks and some of the players as well. Whereas if they would have gone the Celtics route, they probably would have gotten Jaylen Brown, which is a pretty good piece, but maybe not as many picks. So I think it'll be a little bit of an interesting fit just with Bam and Giannis. Like they're gonna have to maybe even add a third somehow. A guard that may be able to contribute on a high level. But as far as the basketball perspective, I don't really see this going super well. At least not how their roster is currently constructed.
Yeah, I think this is definitely more of a project by Miami for sure. Obviously, you got Bam, who you know love him or hate
Giannis
him, he's
not
a
getting
solid
younger
player.
either.
Giannis isn't getting younger. Usually injury prone, like he's always injured. But his trade value definitely skyrocketed after what Wemby ended up doing in the NBA playoffs and making it all the way to the finals and giving teams problem. Even teams with pretty good size. Like I felt like OKC had more size than the Knicks. But Wemby just I don't know. Wemby just had a different kind of energy when he was playing OKC. And I feel like they kind of took the Knicks for granted, but that's besides the point. Obviously, the Heat were all in on getting Giannis, and they're just gonna have to fill around. Like they're missing shot making with Tyler Hero going. Jaime Jaquez was like, I think he was like second in six man of the year voting this past season. So,
Yeah.
definitely getting rid of some playmakers, some guys that can shoot the ball, which you're gonna need if you're gonna be playing Bam and Giannis at the same time because they operate kind of in the paint down low. If teams can just sit in and kind of take away that space, like I don't know, their offense is kind of like
Uh,
obsolete at that point.
Yeah, and I'm just not impressed with at the 2 and the 3 they have Norm Powell and Andrew Wiggins right now, who Norm Powell's a fine player. He fit best probably when he was like the third or fourth option. Getting older, Andrew Wiggins, he was a really good player for a long time. Now he's on the wrong side of 30, probably going downhill at this point. They do have a pretty good point guard in Davion Mitchell, but you consider him to be a prospect, but he's already 27, so it's just kind of hard to see the obvious the fit as far as one of the big reasons that Giannis wanted out was because he didn't really feel like the Bucks were contending anymore. The roster wasn't
Right.
wasn't great. So him going to the Heat, like I said, I don't feel like this roster is that great. And we have a long time to go before the season starts. They could I feel like more than likely they'll add another third guy, maybe that's not maybe the top elite players in the league, but somebody that you'd consider to be paired with a big three of Giannis, Bam, and somebody else as well. But most of the players that you'd consider to be building around were involved in the trade. So, like you said,
Right.
Jaime Jaquez was pretty good. Jacko Jonas he was a solid prospect for sure. He was going the other way, but like I said, this works out pretty well for the Bucks, who finally has some first round picks to be able to select because I don't think they got any before the trade in the next 5 years. So
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm so surprised that he didn't. I know Giannis had a say, but didn't really have a say. It was more what Milwaukee was looking for to get for him. But like,
mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like getting Jaylen Brown in a deal would have been really good for Milwaukee. Like they probably would have gotten Jaylen Brown and some more picks, and that's a guy that you can build around. But like, who's Milwaukee have right now to build around? Like, sure, they got all these picks, but like, you're gonna have to try to find your dude in the draft, and that's just very like Jaylen Brown's already shown that he's a 1A for sure. 1A was in tons of MVP conversations this past season, so I feel like you roll the dice with him and just hope you can put stuff around him with the picks that you get along with
Yeah,
him.
I'm sure Jaylen Brown was pushing pretty hard against that. I mean, the disrespect the Celtics were showing him after this season. They saved the season, showed that he's a 1A, and now he's in trade talks. Like, that's super disrespectful in my eyes. So like Jaylen Brown, obviously, just for all of that, probably didn't want to go. But also, like, I mean, you're trading the Celtics, who are, a borderline title contender when they're healthy, to go rebuild in the Bucks, where you're like the only decent player that they're going to have for a little while when you're already 29. Like, that's basically signing a death sentence as far as your career goes, unless you do a sign and trade and go somewhere else. But yeah, I kind of get why Jaylen Brown specifically wouldn't want to go there, and maybe why the Bucks. And again, they just didn't have the picks to pair like the Heat did. So.
Yeah, I guess that's probably why Milwaukee decided to go with that, just the amount of picks that they were able to get. I'm sure they'll probably move off of some of these players that they acquire, like Tyler Hero. We were talking off pod a little bit. Like, kind of had his day in the bubble when him and Jimmy made a run to the NBA Finals and ended up losing to the Lakers in the bubble. But like, kind of after that, he's just been always injured, not quite the player that he used to be. Can make shots when you need him to, but just, I don't know. You just don't see a lot about him in Miami, and I guess it's part of the reason that they moved off of him, and I don't know if Milwaukee's going to end up keeping him or moving him as well, but just interesting.
Yeah, they're talking about doing like a sign and trade where they just flip him to another team for whatever they might get back, and that's probably what I do as well. Like you were saying, just super inconsistent, can't stay on the court, just hasn't really developed into the top tier player that we were kind of expecting after that bubble run that they had.
Yeah. So
also, what happens with Giannis's brothers on the Bucks? Alex and Thanasis still over there.
He's gonna
they find a way
Miami,
on the Heat or what?
Yeah, they're gonna find a way to get on the Heat to have a good time down there in South Beach. So I could see him pulling some strings, or he'd be like, "Y'all just retire and come hang out with me. Like, I'm gonna be making plenty of money for all of us." So, but yeah, it was so funny that he had his freaking brothers in Milwaukee with him. Like,
yeah,
that was definitely part of Milwaukee, like keeping him for so long. They're like, "Hey, stay another year. We'll sign your brothers. You can have your brothers with you."
Dude,
and it's just
Thanasis has been on that roster for like 10 years, and like he's seen the court for maybe 10 minutes total. He was just there.
Can you call it like? I guess it is nepotism, but like they literally like sign them because they're just like, dude, if these guys turn into another Giannis, like, dude, we've got it all. It's like the ultimate like signing players for upside that like you don't see it, but you're just like, oh yeah, their brother's really good. If on the off chance that they turn into him, like we'll be sitting pretty. Like, I don't know. There's like no reason for them to be there other than that.
Well, his older brother, like I said, he's older than him, so like it's not like he's a prospect or anything like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I don't know.
Super wild. But obviously that big bombshell coming down last night. First real bombshell in the NBA when it comes to players. Anyways, there was some big news that broke earlier in the day yesterday. Dusty May leaving Michigan after winning a title there, a national title with Michigan, is going to the Mavs as the head coach. Obviously, earlier in the offseason, super, like, we were kind of confused why they got rid of Jason Kidd. At least I was. And now they're signing first-time NBA head coach Dusty May, who seemingly wins everywhere, but is this going to be a little bit too big of a jump for him? What say you?
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't really tracking the Michigan Wolverines too closely until they got to the tournament, obviously. But yeah, obviously he is a good coach. He's proven that. He was at FAU before that. I actually remember him more at FAU than I do at Michigan, to be totally honest. But yeah, obviously a good coach, kind of shown that he's worth his salt in the college ranks, and then kind of just kind of putting the cherry on top of the cake with a division title, this Division One title this last year. Going up to the Mavs, I'm not really sure if this is going to be a super. He might be a Billy Donovan, where he goes up to the NBA and he's just kind of a not a bad coach, but not a great one either, where he's just kind of mid and holds a job for a while. Definitely going into a franchise that just needs some stability after kind of what they've gone through the last couple of years. Obviously, they have Cooper Flag, still not still there. He just got there, but kind of trying to build around him. Still have Kyrie Irving, who's kind of injury prone at this point, but just kind of seeing what he's able to do with that roster. I think he'll do pretty well, at least at the beginning, just showing some good signs. But yeah, I guess we'll see. I'm not really sure too much about kind of his play style or how that'll transition to the NBA. But I think from 30,000 foot view, I think it's a good hire. At least he's not somebody old that's just gonna what he's gonna be what he's about, and there's a new guy in there with new ideas. So
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely a net positive for sure. Just like judging on his FAU run, just being able to get what he got out of those players and making that crazy historic Final Four run with them, and then going to Michigan and turning their program around and bringing them back kind of to the promised land. In their first season, making the Sweet 16, and then obviously in his second season, winning it all with Michigan. And he's just able to bring like these seemingly like ragtag team of players together and getting the most out of them. And so like when you're in the NBA and you got like the number one pick last year in Cooper Flag, and then you got a lot of really good pieces there in Dallas, like just imagine what he's able to um get out of them, in the coming years. I guess kind of like what you were saying, I'm not concerned with like his coaching. Like he's proven that he's a good basketball coach when it comes to like X's and O's and stuff like that. But now the personalities get like, because even Michigan last year, there was like you know Yaxel was from like a mid major, came from a mid major, and then you had um that UNC reject, forgetting his name, their point guard, um what was his name? I can't even remember it at this point.
can't help you. Caleb
Can't help
Wilson?
me.
No,
Anyways,
that's he was
no,
UNC guy.
it was like almost like a French name. I'm blanking on it. Anyways, but he just had this group of like players that kind of were rejected from like these other teams like Illinois, UNC, and different things like that. He brought them together and won a national championship with them. So he's able to do that with very little. So, but when you start getting egos and guys getting paid, like I guess it's not totally different from the
Was it
college
Elliot
game
Cato?
now, but yeah, Cadeau, yeah.
Cato.
Totally forgot about him. Jeepers, I'm just losing it, man.
He got
Losing it.
hurt, didn't he?
Um,
No. I don't know.
no, he actually had a really really good run in the tournament, which no one saw coming. But and that was kind of attributed to Dusty May. But yeah, just some interesting news coming down. Kind of was interested to see where the Mavs would go after they got rid of Jason Kidd. Obviously, made it to the NBA Finals 2 years ago. Was it only 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
3 years, yeah.
3 years ago now. So they were right there knocking on the door, and then kind of seemingly fell off, especially after Nico Williams came in and just got rid of everybody that was on that championship run, seemingly.
Nico Harrison.
Nico
Said
Harrison.
Nico
What did I say?
Williams.
Nico Williams. Oh my gosh, I got World Cup brain, bro. It's all
That's
soccer
right.
up here right
Yeah.
now.
At
All
the very
soccer.
least, I'm sure it's I bet you it's probably less stressful than being head coach at one of these Division One schools now, just with all this
Certainly.
NIL stuff and roster turnover basically at 100% every year for most of the big schools, and just having a little bit more stability and a lot less to worry about is probably a lot more I guess favorable than maybe it is at a Division One school right now. But
Yeah.
guy that's taken
definitely
over for him at Michigan, Mike Boynton, former Oklahoma State coach of 7 years, so that's kind of cool.
Oh really? I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Sick. I didn't
Mike
realize they
Boynton.
already had.
He's
Was he an assistant coach, or did they have him in the wings waiting?
assistant coach for Michigan. I think he's
Okay.
just interim, but I
Mm.
think he's going to be coaching this year, maybe. So
Oh, okay. Sick. Well, good for them actually having a. I mean, most teams probably have a fallback plan unless it totally hits you out of nowhere that someone's leaving, but they probably kind of saw this coming. I know he got some interest when the Lakers job showed up too. People were looking at Dusty May just with what he was able to do. So it was always kind of just something that was going to end up happening down the road. But good for him. Hopefully it works out for him. And I really like his story. I like who he is, like how he coaches. So wish him nothing but the best. All right, quickly before we get out of the NBA portion of this podcast, we're going to talk a little NBA draft. Like Sammy and Boy and I were kind of alluding to, this kind of caught us off guard because we've been so entrenched in the World Cup that's been happening. Didn't realize it was tonight until literally at 12 today, and I was like, oh shoot, we should probably talk about that on the podcast. So, the biggest thing that everyone was talking about was who was going to go number one, Darren Peterson or AJ Debance. It ends up being AJ Debance out of BYU going to the Washington Wizards. Probably going to destroy his entire career there, where everybody goes to die. But
Hey, they got Trae Young back.
they got Trae Young back, just signed like $212 million, dude. I saw that number. It just makes my head spin how much money they're paying these players. But anyways, who did you think was going to go number one in this draft? I thought it was going to be AJ just based on Darren Peterson's injury history, but obviously Darren Peterson could end up being the better player. A lot of people think so, but what do you think?
Yeah, I kind of always thought it was going to be Debance after, like you said, the injury stuff for Peterson. Cam Boozer, good player, but I don't think he was ever like that number one pick quality,
Nah.
at least not over Debance. So I feel like it was kind of an easy pick for the Wizards, as most number one picks in the NBA have seemingly been in the last several years. So.
Yeah, I agree. Cameron Boozer never really was on anybody's. Like, there was a portion of the season, this past season, where he seemed to like be playing himself into maybe like the number one pick, but like AJ Debance just proved that he was just, even though they didn't go as far in the tournament, which is so weird. And we were kind of talking about this off pod. This is why I could never be a GM, because like Cameron Boozer literally won National Player of the Year, but like went 3. AJ Debance didn't make it as far with BYU as Cameron Boozer, but definitely is the better player. So obviously it's just it's where you end up. Obviously, I know BYU had kind of an injury-ridden season. A lot was put on Debance as a freshman, so they didn't end up making a run that people thought they could make, even though they made it pretty far last year. But the Darren Peterson one, I was like, I just in my mind, he was for sure a 2, just with everything going on with his injuries, whether they were true, whether it was like he's just cramping a lot, like whatever the case may be. I was just like, that's just not, all those problems just add up to just being number 2. Like you would waste a number 2 pick on him. You wouldn't waste the number 1 pick in the draft on him when you got AJ Debance there. Like, minus AJ Debance, Darren Peterson is the unanimous number 1. But yeah, totally agree. AJ Debance, number 1 pick. Were there anybody else that you thought kind of like went high, went low? I saw that Caleb Wilson, who obviously had that hand injury right before the tournament, didn't play a lot, but people had him projected in the top 5. He went. I think he's going to be really good. He goes to the Bulls, who are looking for playmaking for sure. Michael Brown was also, I saw an interesting stat on him. The Clippers ended up taking, or Nets ended up taking him. Played for Louisville this past season. He was hurt more than Darren Peterson and still went this high, even though he wasn't that big of a prospect. But I didn't know if you had anybody that you thought went kind of high, or kind of like
Yeah.
you were Koa Pete. You could mention Koa Pete. You're saying Koa Pete kept falling and falling. Has he even gone off the board yet?
I don't think he's been picked yet, at least not that I'm seeing. I don't know. That may just be me being a casual, and like, again, like you were saying, like I could never be an NBA GM because I'd be like, dude, he's, solid player. I'm going to take him in the top 10 kind of thing. And,
right.
We're sitting here at the end of the first round. He's still not picked yet. Maybe he'll go second. But a guy that I really went maybe a little bit high was Keaton Wagler from Illinois. I thought that the Thunder might be able to package those 2 first-round picks, maybe get into the top 10, maybe around 7 or 8, and pick him there. But he went number 5 to the Clippers. But obviously, I'm not too mad at our selection at 12, getting Mara. that far down. Obviously, he's a huge need for us based on what happened in the playoffs. So I love that pick for us, and we actually ended up keeping both of our picks and picked another guard later on in the round as well. So we'll see if the guard I've never even heard of, to be honest. So but like I was telling you off pod, that's usually what happens for Mr. Sam Presti, best GM in the league. Don't really hear about most of these dudes, and then a couple years they're borderline all-stars. So we'll see what he's got cooking with that pick.
Yeah, Sam Presti's definitely in the position where you do not you just don't disagree with him. Like, he's just proven that he knows how to put a team together. He knows how to pick players, make trades. So even if it doesn't seem very conventional, it ends up working out in the long run anyway.
I mean, when we picked Jalen Williams, with a name like Jalen Williams and the way that Jalen Williams looked right out of Santa Clara, I'm like,
yeah,
dude, like, what are we doing? And then, he's an all-star. So
dude's a freaking all-star. And
second best player on a championship team. So,
dude, for real. If only he can stay healthy. That's the only thing right now. If only he could stay healthy. But yeah, we're not gonna disagree with anything that your GM's doing, because they got things figured out over there. Unlike Milwaukee and some of these other teams. I saw Milwaukee took Braden Burries in the top 10. He's a good player. I did not think he was gonna go top 10.
He's Arizona too, right?
Yeah, Arizona. I'm right there with you. I think Koa Pete's being slept on. He's got size. He can shoot. He can play multiple positions. A big thing is being able to guard multiple positions, which he can.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nuggets should pick him up right here. That'd be a huge pickup for them.
Yeah, that would be absolutely huge. But like we said, we're not going to touch too deeply on the NBA draft, just because one, it caught us by surprise, but two, we really don't, I don't lock into it that much. Like, you can see where people go, and it's nice to see like the top 10, but then from there, like, all of a sudden it's just like some kid from Europe that you had no idea about is tearing up the league, and it's just like, well, everything I thought doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's some Mexican dude that just got drafted. I was like, I have zero clue. Like, I never
just like where was he playing? Like some team in Europe or something like that?
I don't think he was even Europe. I think he was playing out in Mexico, but I don't know. I'm like, when are Mexicans good at basketball all of a sudden?
Right. But one thing you can say about this draft, though, is like that top 10, a lot of these players, even though they're not going to be like, I mean, you can look at Darren Pearson and AJ DeBansa and be like, okay, these guys could potentially turn into all-stars. There's like Darius Acuff could, like, just players like that. But everybody in the top 10 will eventually be a decent or very good, like, NBA player. Like, I don't know. This is just one of those drafts where you look at it and you're just like, yeah, sure, they're not going to be like face of the league, be like perennial all-stars or anything, but they're going to be serviceable, pros. Like, could be totally wrong, but most of them, their games just translate to the league so well. A lot of them being older, just with the NIL keeping them in school. So, a pretty good draft, which it was slated to be when the NBA season or the college basketball season started off, when we were watching them all as freshmen and juniors and seniors. We're going to switch gears now to the World Cup, which is in full swing. We're getting down to the nitty gritty in the group stages. Teams already, air quotes, going home. No one's actually gone home yet, but there are teams who are mathematically eliminated from the tournament. Still have 1 or 2 games left to play. We're going to start off, obviously, with the host nations, Mexico, USA. Mexico beat South Korea in a 1-0, like, sketchy game.
Crappy,
I did not think Mexico was going to get out of there with a win, but they end up holding on against South Korea, who is they're low-key a little bit of a dark horse, like, on a good day. And we've talked about this with some of the Asian teams. They're just so good fundamentally that they're always going to be competitive. No matter, like, they're always smaller, always shorter, but it doesn't matter. They're just like, it's the one thing about soccer that's great. Like, you don't have to be the most athletic or the biggest or the fastest. Just, like, if you play the game right and you work together well, like, you can beat teams that are quote unquote better than you. But yeah, Mexico holding on against South Korea. Did you watch this game? I watched it.
I watched most of it. I'm trying to get most of Mexico's games, because I mean, they're just so electric, and
yeah,
it's just hype. But like you said, the the Asian teams in general are usually very, very compact, hard to break down. They
Solid.
just play so well together as a team, which makes up for a lot of things that they lack, such as size. But yeah, I thought this was definitely going to a 0-0, maybe even a South Korea scrappy goal, but
Yeah.
ended up going the other way with Mexico kind of getting a scrappy goal off the Korean goalkeeper's mistake there. But good for Mexico, dude. Like, I feel like people kind of forget Mexico. Not that long ago, they were kind of in a no man's land, kind of like the U.S. was for a little while, where they just weren't getting results. They lost, the Nations League and the Gold Cup to the U.S. Now they have both of those back, and look like they might embarrass themselves at this World Cup. But big props to them for bringing in that coach. That I think this is his second stint as their coach, and being able to really grind out results. Obviously, they beat South Africa rather convincingly, even though they were up 2 guys. But coming into this game and beating South Korea as well, and booking first team to book their place in the round of 32 was impressive. Again, they're just a team that grinds out results, and I think it's like I said, an impressive quality. So
yeah, absolutely. Like, especially in the group stage, just in the tournament in general, you're gonna get into those type of games where you just gotta grind it out. It's not gonna look pretty, but you just gotta put your head down and get the 1-0 win, and just get those 3 points on the board, and be able to get out of the group stage, which is what the USA did against the Aussies earlier this week as well. This game wasn't pretty at all. This game wasn't pretty at all. We did not have Christian Pulisic playing, obviously, with a bit of a calf injury. We kind of talked about this, not on the podcast, because we talked about the first games, obviously, but we were talking earlier in the week just about, like, if it's just a little bit of a calf strain, sure, play through it. But, like, the way you're looking at it is, if you can beat Australia without him, then he's going to have 2 weeks off, opposed to having to go again if he's not ready to go against Turkey to try to, actually get out of the group. Thankfully, we ended up winning this game, and also winning the group after Paraguay getting a result against Turkey, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But what were your thoughts on this game? Obviously, a little bit different from our opener, which was just total domination. But this one, there was some iffy moments there, with the Aussies getting some chances.
yeah, for sure. I think definitely not a pretty game at all. Obviously, the goals were not impressive at all. Obviously, an own goal, and then just kind of a scrappy, like 50-50 ball Alex Freeman gets on the end of, which good for him. But yeah, definitely not the catalog of goals that we had in the first game. I didn't think we looked that great, to be honest, from just, from the first minute all the way to the 90. Australia didn't either, though. This was kind of the Australia that I kind of thought that we would get. Obviously, they beat Turkey, which was impressive, but Turkey looked absolutely diabolical, which we'll talk about later. But Australia did a great job at kind of getting it into dangerous positions, but just could not finish.
Yeah.
And a couple of the guys that I was watching the game with, I was talking to the US. Like, I have some serious concerns about our defense once we start to play some teams that can actually finish. Because, I mean, Paraguay too, like, they had a couple decent opportunities there. They just were lacking the finishing touch. So some of our defenders kind of got to get it together once we play some of these bigger teams that are going to, one, have way more opportunities to score the ball, and are going to be way more clinical and be able to finish those chances off. So I think it's great. Everybody's super high on the U.S., all the American media. I don't know how they're daring talking about us winning the whole thing when we've just won a couple games, but whatever. But I think we got some things to definitely work on before we start talking crazy like that, or before we even start talking about getting past some of the teams that we might face in the round of 32 or round of 16.
Dude, yeah. I mean, I know our pathway is, like, projected to be pretty favorable, but I mean, once you're in those knockout stages, dude, like, those other teams, like, they got out of their group too. They can play, like.
Yeah. But even if it's favorable, I mean, those are some of the teams. Like, we're not going to be playing, the Cape Verdes and the Curaçaos anymore. Like, we're not going to get a favorable that way. Like, it's going to be like a Croatia, or, like, maybe not one of those top teams, but it's still going to be a team that's worth their salt, and it's not going to be a team that we can just roll over like we did in these first 2 games.
Yeah. Like you alluded to, like, teams that are going to be able to, like, take their chances when they get them, unlike Paraguay or the Australia, just not having that quality. A team that does have that quality, though, Canada, maybe not so much their quality, but the lack of quality against their opponent, Qatar, putting 6 goals past them. That was the big highlight of this game, but also an unfortunate highlight. Did you watch this game? Did you see the guy
I watched bits and
that
pieces.
did
Oh,
you
I
see
definitely did
the
see that.
yeah,
Yes.
the Canadian player that just had it like snapped
Yeah.
his leg. Absolutely
Hmm.
snapped his leg. Qatarian player sent off with a red card. Horrible scenes. I was like on my way to go play soccer and this happened and I was just like, bro, why am I watching this as I'm gonna go play? Like I'm just gonna snap my leg now. But
It didn't even
obviously,
look like it was that gross of a challenge at first, and then like they obviously had the close up, and the
yeah,
dude's leg is not in a natural position. I was like, oh,
no.
I don't think that was even like a red card offense, but obviously the broken
The
leg, it's always gonna
yeah,
be a red card. But
the way he
um,
caught him, yeah, made it a lot like obvious. Like I'm sitting here like, oh yeah, the way he caught him made it like obviously it was a lot worse because his
yeah,
leg was hanging off of his body, and it was just like it was
yeah.
so bad. I caught a
But
glimpse of it, and I was like, ugh.
yeah, no, impressive stuff for Canada though. Jonathan David hat trick. They're the first team to score 6 goals as a Concacaf team in World Cup, so that was pretty impressive
Wow,
stuff.
yeah,
But yeah, after a shaky first game for the Canadians, getting a very convincing 6-0 victory is pretty impressive for the Great White North up there.
yeah, absolutely. I'm low key rooting on Canada just because like
Yeah,
they haven't they like their opener was the first point that they've ever gotten, and like ever since they've been in the World Cup, and
hmm,
so like obviously that was huge to get that on home soil, and then to get a win like this on home soil as well. Like if you're a Canadian dude, you must be absolutely buzzing right now
yeah,
because you
and
have. Go ahead.
and still no Alfonso Davies.
That's what I was
So
gonna say.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And you're missing arguably one of your, if not your best players. Is he gonna be back? Like, is he
I want to say
slated to be
yes.
back?
I think he was questionable to come back in this game, but they decided to rest him for one more game, probably because they
Okay.
thought they didn't need him, and obviously that they didn't. But I think that he should be playing against the Swiss tomorrow. I would assume.
Yeah, I think that game's for the group, right? To win the group. Whoever wins that wins the group, I think.
Yep,
I think
yep.
it's a pretty
Both
big
teams
game.
already through, so that'll be the big decider.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be a big game tomorrow to watch for sure. All right, moving on to some of the bigger names in the tournament. Brazil eased past Haiti after that embarrassing draw in their opener. Obviously Haiti's not really a team to worry about in this competition, but Brazil kind of showing their quality here. 3-1 victory versus them. I didn't know if you had any quick thoughts on that game that happened.
Yeah, not really. Obviously, Brazil, not the Brazil that we've are kind of grown up to be used to, but still get a very easy victory against Haiti here. Haiti, to their credit, they were fighting for sure. They were doing their best. They had some good stuff, some good opportunities, but felt like every time I would look up from my phone or whatever, Brazil were in on goal on a one-on-one, so they could have easily probably scored 5 or 6. But good for Brazil. This is huge for their confidence, and Vinny getting back in the groove of things and everything. No Neymar still, which I think is a problem. I think
Yeah.
like why are you even bringing him, dude? If like he's not gonna like, I think he got an injury after they announced the squad, so I kind of
Yeah.
get that. But like, what is he dealing with that he can't go on for 15 minutes against Haiti? Like, come on, bro.
Yeah. He's not known for taking care like the best care of his body. So like when he gets an injury, it usually ends up like
Yeah, it's
he
long.
usually can't go. So yeah, poor dude. Just remembering what Neymar used to be, just it hurts me to see what he is now. Just like always out of shape, not really quite what he used to be. But I think some were saying that he could be playing. Do they play tomorrow, Brazil?
Yeah, I
I
think
think
so.
they were
Yeah.
saying that he could be playing tomorrow. At least he'll be available tomorrow. So we'll see if he actually gets some playing time. But
Let's see him.
the game of the tournament and also the game of the day, which wasn't slated to be the game of the day because obviously we had the Netherlands playing Sweden, which we'll talk about here in a little bit.
Okay.
Germany versus Ivory Coast, dude. Like I I'll be honest, I wasn't watching this and I turned it on just to have something on and I was like, Germany, Ivory Coast. I'm sure Germany's up like 3-0 or something like that. And I'm like looking at it and I'm like, Ivory Coast is their level. Like, what is going on? Dude,
Hmm.
Ivory Coast had that one chance at the end where the guy took a touch in the box when he should have hit it first time and he
I
didn't.
know,
And
dude.
I was just and then Germany ends up getting the winner late. But obviously, these are the type of games you look forward to watching in the World Cup, regardless of who's playing. But what were your thoughts on this game and the Germans getting it done? And wildly enough, for the first time in like the past, what was it, 2 or 3 World Cups,
2,
getting out of the
yeah.
group since they won it in
Yeah.
2010 or
Yep.
2014. Like
Yep.
that was wild. I was like, dude, that's insane. But anyways,
Yeah, pretty crazy stuff. I knew this game was going to be pretty good. Ivory Coast is always a team that's worth their salt in the World Cup. They always do well on the African continent as well. I'm always winning the AFCON, or not always, but they're always kind of in the mix to contend to win that. But this was a game that was kind of going on while I was in Atlanta. I was still driving for most of it, but I definitely had it on. Saw Ivory Coast take that early lead and hold on pretty well for the next 30-ish minutes or so. And then Dennis Undav, kind of the revelation of the tournament here for Germany. I think he already has 3 goals for them, which is a little bit random, but good for him, kind of popping up out of nowhere, kind of being the go-to man and getting the 94th minute winner for Germany to, like you said, send them to the next round for the first time since 2014, which is kind of wild to say. But
that is crazy.
big news for Germany. They lose Schlotterbeck for the rest of the tournament, maybe even missing some of the beginning of the next season. That's a huge, huge blow to their defense. His partnership with Jonathan Tah was instrumental for them. So we'll see who's able to kind of slot in there. Rudiger came in for him, so I would assume that it would be Rudiger, who's not a bad center back, but maybe getting a little bit older, not as good as we're kind of used to him seeing from his earlier Real Madrid days. But yeah, I'm a little bit hesitant on Germany. I want to really like them just because I like German players as a whole, but I'm not quite seeing the makeup of a true contender that can go maybe all the way this year. But good start, 2 wins out of 2.
Yeah. No, I agree. Coming into the tournament, I was just like, Germany's got to be one of those teams that should be contending. You just think of them as contenders every year. But then just like their first few games, you're just kind of like, man, they're leaving stuff late. Not looking as dominant as we thought they would be. But good to see them actually make it out of the group. It's always good to see Germany make it deeper into the tournament. Obviously, back in 2014 made it all the way and ended up winning it. But like I said, this wasn't slated as the best game of Saturday. Netherlands versus Sweden was supposed to be the better game, ended up being the opposite. Netherlands putting 5 past Sweden, ended up winning 5-1 on the day. What do you think about this? I know your boy Gilchrist is on Sweden. Didn't have much of a. Who ended up did he have the 1 goal for them?
No,
Or
it was
okay.
Anthony Alanga.
Okay, that's right. Yep.
But yeah, Sweden went from beating Tunisia 5-1 to then getting destroyed 5-1 by Netherlands. But yeah, Netherlands looked comfortable from the beginning. Brian Brobby, he had a couple goals. I think he scored in their other game as well, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, Netherlands just looked really in the mood from the beginning. A lot of opportunities early on. They just seemed to be moving the ball really, really well, getting in dangerous spots, running in behind, which was, they definitely have the players for that. And Somerville and Malen and Gakpo can get behind there as well. So, and their midfield is kind of, I would say, even underrated a little bit. Obviously, they have the names with De Jong and Gravenberch and Reinders and some of those guys as well. But some of those, like, maybe they're not talked about as much as they maybe should be, with Reinders kind of taking a bench seat at Manchester City, Gravenberch not having the best time at Liverpool, De Jong always seemingly in transfer talks with Barcelona to get out. So it's really solid midfield though overall for them, and obviously they showed it with a really impressive performance here against Sweden.
Yeah, Netherlands look good. They're one of those teams that are always contending, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
always
This year
there,
just
man.
yeah, they're always there. Just this just feels different. Kind of like while you were talking, I'm sitting there. I'm just like, they're one of the more complete teams. Like a lot of these other teams have holes, but like from their defense to their goalkeeper to the midfield to their attack, like it just seems really, really good. I mean, they got Somerville coming off the bench. He's got 2 goals in 2 matches for them in this World Cup. So it's just like, dude, when you got a player like that coming off the bench, dude, like.
And they're just a couple minutes away from having 2 dubs in this World Cup. Japan stealing 1 at the very, very end.
Yep.
And obviously we've already talked about how good the Japanese and the Koreans are. So if they would have been able to get out of there, even more impressive. But yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people were shocked that this wasn't a better game just after Sweden's big time performance, obviously against Tunisia. So like, a little bit of fool's gold there, but I think I think Sweden will end up being fine. They're still in contention to get out of the group, I believe, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
got that
should.
big win against Tunisia, and
Mm-hmm,
Sweden are playing
mm-hmm.
Curacao last, so
Okay,
you'd
okay.
bank on them getting through.
Yeah, absolutely. So they'll be just fine getting out of the group. We'll see how they do in the round of 32. One of the biggest shocks of the entire tournament in the USA's group, Turkey, shock loss to Paraguay. Up a man. Like dude, I thought Turkey was going to win this group no problem. Like, I even thought, and I know we talked about this, like, initially, I was just like, as the USA, you're looking at the group and you're just like, you got to believe you're going to beat Australia. Paraguay's like kind of like the frisky, iffy team. So you just got to win those two and then just hope, like, Turkey shouldn't matter. Just win those two games and get out of the group and just fight for one or two. But it looks like we're going to beat Turkey and we're going to roll out a B squad to do it. Obviously, we've already won the group, but Turkey hasn't won a game, hasn't even registered a goal. Like, one of the biggest disappointments out of the entire tournament. And I know we talked about it off pod, but if you have a little bit to say on that, it's just shocking how bad they've been.
Yeah, absolute embarrassment by Turkey, dude. Obviously, a tremendously passionate football playing country there. Obviously, they have some of the best fans in Europe. Their national team hasn't really been good for a decade or so, really. But obviously, they kind of had the resurgence at the Euros, going all the way to the quarterfinals, losing I think 2-1 against a really good Netherlands side that we just talked about. And so it's kind of the resurgence of a Turkey team with several good players like Kalhanoglu and Guler and Yildiz and just several of these guys that are close to some of the elite players in the world, really, and just to fall completely flat here against two teams that they really should be beating pretty handily is just super, super surprising. And I think I said this last pod too, but a lot of the guys that I've kind of had to kind of explain who's good and who's bad, and I was like, basically told them exactly what you just did. And like Turkey's a solid team. Like they're going to get to knockout. They might make some noise. Like they're better than us, yada, yada. And just to see them completely fall flat here, obviously
So bad.
losing to Australia 2-0, not really looking close to scoring there, and then losing to Paraguay when they were up a man for more than 45 minutes. Like that's just terrible. And I think I saw a stat they had like 64 shots or something like that through the first two games and haven't registered a goal. Just super surprising. But yeah, every World Cup there's a couple teams that are just fall like completely flat, way short of expectations, and Turkey's definitely one of them this year. And that's a complete dud of a match against us, which we can talk about the format maybe at a different time. But like since it's head to head, Turkey have zero chance to go through because they've already lost to Australia and Paraguay, and we have 6 points, and we've already beaten both of them. So like there's literally zero chance of them going through or us not having first place. So it's literally a meaningless game.
Yeah, which is super unfortunate. I don't know how to feel like because I'm so used to sweating the US trying to get out of their group, leaving it to like the last, like even if it's like we have to draw or win this game, like it's not totally like just like, all or nothing. But like I'm just so used to like just stressing as a US men's national team fan that I don't know what to do with myself. Like the fact that we can literally take the day off on the last game of group stages it's not
helps
a
when we're
feeling that we get to...
the top seed, getting favorable draw, I guess.
I guess so. So, but yeah, super shocked that Turkey wasn't better. They got they got names across the board. Like it's not like they're just this obsolete team with obsolete players. Like, they got
We would have
players.
done better. Freaking Turkish guys had to knock us out, bro.
Oh my word! Yeah, yeah,
A
absolutely.
lot of people in Romania. Romania is like known, especially over the last 10, 15 years, because our golden generation was during the 90s. Like we're always so down on our national team because like we haven't been to a World Cup in so long, yada yada. But like after these Turkey performances, like everybody is so confident that we would have at least shown up and scored a couple goals and made it interesting, instead of watching this Turkish team fall flat.
Yeah, and I mean, if Romania was in the freaking World Cup, we would have taken out some personal loan and gone to the
I would have
USA
had
Romania
to,
games,
man.
dude. We would have
Sold the
had to.
house. Sold the
Like
house.
something. Living in a box, Taylor. We're living in a box. Got to go to the World Cup. Got to do it.
That's SoFi, man.
That would have been lit. Ticks me
Yeah.
off every time I think about it. Anyways, we gotta move on before I get all mad about that. But Spain beat Saudi handily after their embarrassment in their opener as well. This wasn't much of a game. Spain just showing their quality, really just took it away in the first half and never really handed it back to Saudi as well. So what do you guys say about this one?
Yeah, not much to say here. Spain finally kicking it into gear, taking care of business as they should have. They should probably have a goal difference of 9 or 10 at this point, but
Yeah.
since they tied their first game to Cape Verde, they only have the 4 here against Saudi. Saudi, you don't expect them to be very good, but they have surprised some people over the last couple of years. Obviously, I think they beat Argentina last World Cup.
Yeah, they
If
did.
I'm not mistaken, in the first game. So a little bit dangerous. Obviously, their league is getting a little bit better. Maybe that kind of pours into or kind of trickles down to some of their players getting a little bit better. But as of right now, yeah, Spain still is going to impose their will on these boys pretty easily. And we were speaking about Yamal a little bit earlier. He started this game, only played 45 minutes, but still contributed with a goal. So got his World Cup up and running.
Yeah. Is he nursing an injury? Is that why he's not playing a ton? Is
Yeah.
that what's going on?
So I thought he wasn't playing against Cape Verde because they were taking it easy and like kind of overlooking them. But apparently he's nursing some kind of calf or something like that.
Oh,
So he started this game, like I said, only played 45 minutes, but yeah, I guess it's just kind of easing him back in, which they can afford to do when they play Cape Verde and Saudi Arabia. So
yeah. LeBron would never. That's a
probably
little
not.
bit of a callback to the reel that we reacted to at the beginning. Obviously, hopefully, if you made it to this far in the podcast, you get that inside joke.
I
Sorry,
will
go
say
ahead.
they do have a little bit of a dicey game against Uruguay, who hasn't looked
Yes.
very good at all against the two teams that, I mean, they should have 6 points as well. But, if Uruguay get a scrappy goal, like they might steal that first place spot away from Spain. So we'll see.
Yeah, a lot to be had in the
Imagine,
last game.
sorry, I'm just rambling
No,
here,
you're
but
good.
like
Keep going.
the group right now, Spain 4 points, Uruguay 2, Cape Verde 2, Saudi Arabia 1. If Uruguay beats Spain and Cape Verde come away with a result against Saudi, and we got to talk about Spain as a third place team
Dude.
behind Cape Verde,
I would love it. Put some
I'd
respect
be there for
on
them.
Cape Verde's name, dude. Like, oh,
Yeah.
they have been like. There's always that small team that's punching above their weight, even if it's just in the group stages. That like is like the talk of the tournament, and that's who they are. Like, obviously getting that huge result against Spain in the opener, and I like, again, they weren't playing Lamine Yamal and stuff like that, kind of took the day off with them, but getting that huge result in Atlanta against Spain kind of got the ball rolling, and they're playing with some momentum. So yeah, let's put some respect on their name. That'd be a wild turn of events if they ended up like winning the group.
Yeah, goalkeeper Vozinha is now up to 15.7 million followers on Instagram.
That's insane, dude. You can't tell me that soccer isn't the world sport. Like, he has more followers than some of our entire sports organizations in the US. So
he has more than Tom Brady now, I think. I saw a headline, so
he's
that's
gotta.
pretty crazy.
He's got it at this point. That is crazy. Another thing that's crazy, though, I think it's official to say that Belgium's golden generation is donezo. I saw a meme today that it said maturing is realizing that the golden generation actually was only just prime Eden Hazard playing for them.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you know what? That's kind of true, because ever since he retired, they really haven't been,
Should've called him up.
It probably would have helped, and it would have been a retirement team in full. But Belgium tie Iran. This was supposed to be an easy game for them to kind of get things going and get back to winning ways, but was not to be. Belgium just look. I mean, sometimes we say this just to kind of describe a team, just how they play, but they really do just kind of look old. If like, it just shows out there on the field. Like, the quality's there, but when it comes to like speed, durability, and just like, maintaining, a good, I guess what I'm trying to say is just maintaining fitness throughout the entire game, it just looks lacking. So I didn't know if you had anything quickly to maybe mention more about Belgium than just like the fact that their tournament's going to crap at this point.
Yeah, like you said, they do just look old, and I kind of was remarking that myself. Like De Bruyne, like he can still ping a pass and Lukaku can still shoot really well, but like everything outside of that is just it's a rough watch. Like De Bruyne can't move like he used to. Lukaku is definitely, I mean, he's still strong, but like he just doesn't move like he once did. And like they have other problems too. Like Trossard, he's a good bench player for Arsenal, but like he really shouldn't be starting, not just for Arsenal, but like for a Belgium team that has, the aspirations that they usually have coming into the World Cup. And we talk about golden generations a lot. Like some teams just will perpetually stay in a golden generation. Teams like France and like the Argentinas of the world, the Englands, Spain's, probably things like. But like Belgium, like it doesn't really seem like there's a ton of players that are coming up that are quite to the level. Like Yuri Tielemans, he's a step below. He's technically he's old too, and like a lot of the other players that I'm kind of seeing in their starting lineup are just not the players that the household names that they once had. So this could be the start of something pretty bad for Belgium going forward. Maybe not just not doing well at tournaments, but maybe even missing out on a couple here and there. So we'll see what the next few years are.
Yeah, because I don't really know of any like up and coming Belgiums. There's just been this like group that's been there this entire time, and they're obviously fading, and it's showing in this tournament for sure. Don't really need to talk about this one, just need to highlight it real quick. Japan beat Tunisia. Tunisia is looking really bad. That was the team that we talked about last week, literally fired their coach one game into the World Cup after losing to Sweden 5-1.
They've given up.
Yeah, so they've just punted. Obviously, they've been eliminated as well. Japan's
Also,
a good side. Go ahead.
I did misspeak earlier. Sweden does not play Curacao. The very last game they played Japan, so a little bit of a different opponent there.
It might not
for the Swedish.
How's that group looking? What like?
Sweden's on 3, Japan 4, Netherlands 4, Tunisia 0. So
gotcha.
If Sweden can squeak out a tie, you'd think that with 4 points they'd be one of the 8 best third place teams to go through, but definitely need a result out of that one.
Yeah, Japan's not a team that you want to be seeing when you really need to get a win.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Again, like it's just something about those Asian teams, dude. They're just so fundamentally good, dude. They're just scrappy and they're just always right there. And yeah, definitely don't want to see them on the schedule when it's coming down
a little
to
bit
it.
different than the Curacao team I thought they were facing.
yeah, just a little bit, just a step above for sure. All right, getting into some of the big boys now, and obviously not only the teams but the names that they have on their teams: France, Argentina, Norway, and England.
Before we get into this, who decided to put like all 3 of these teams on the same day in these groups? Like
America,
it's cool
baby.
for one day. Like it's great viewing, but like I would want to spread them out a little bit here.
Right.
But
right.
Whatever.
Yeah. It's America. They're just like, this is the one day that we're gonna just like everything's gonna be amazing. And I'm just like, all right, I'm freaking here for it. I was telling Taylor, this is a side note, a little tangent, but like even though I can't go to a game, it is nice having it in the US because like the way they schedule it is like a lot of the bigger games are like after work in prime time. But also you don't have games at like 3 a.m. or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you have a late game. Like there's a game being played right now at 10 that will get done around 12. Like last night, a game started at 11 because of some rain delay and stuff like that. But you're pretty much done by like 11 or 12. And a lot of the big games are during times that you can watch them. And so it's like, beggars can't be choosers. Obviously, it'd be nice to go to a game with it being here, but I'll take the favorable programming instead, I guess.
Yeah.
But
all the Europeans complaining that they have to get up, and I'm just like, dude, this is what we deal with for
life.
all the time for the other games. Except most of the time, it's like during the day. It's not really like a night thing.
Right.
Still have to deal with
the USA
conflicts.
playing at like 1:30 while I'm at work, and it's not even on lunch break, so you can't even watch some of it. It's like, we actually get to watch. I mean, the earliest they played is like 3, so like I missed like part of it getting out of work. But anyways, a little bit of a tangent there. France eased past Iraq 3-0. 2-hour rain delay didn't stop them. Mbappe getting on the score sheet twice again. He's flying in the World Cup.
First goal too.
Dude, banger, absolutely banger. France look poised to win it all this World Cup. What do you have to say about France and how good they look?
Yeah, France never got into second gear, and they were still
No.
easily way better than Iraq. 2-hour rain delay doesn't help. Iraq trying to get anything from this game, but
Right.
yeah, I mean France, there's just not much you can say. They're the best team, like I've been saying on paper. A lot of people have them going all the way, and this was nothing but.
yeah.
I'm sure that their trainings are harder, like their in-team trainings are harder than this game that they played against Iraq. So.
Oh, for sure, dude. When you see like attacking trio of Mbappe, Dembele, and Elise, dude, like that might be top 3 in the Ballon d'Or voting. When it's all said and done after this season, dude.
Yeah,
like
when you look over the sideline, they're bringing on Cherokee and Desiree Douay, and you're just like, dude, like what
it's
are we
a
doing?
wrap. It's a
Yeah.
wrap. Yeah, and then you're Iraq trying to get something out of this game. Like, never mind any other big nation.
Yeah. Also, Mbappe, like, he is. I mean, by the end of his career, he's gonna have quite the stranglehold on the World Cup rankings, I would assume, because he's only 27. He'll probably have at least probably 2 more.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about Messi right now, and deservedly so, but he's 2 behind right now, and this is his 3rd World Cup. He's gonna be Mr. World Cup by the end of his career for sure, if he's not already. So
Yeah, absolutely. Talking Messi, obviously, Argentina breezed past Austria with Messi scoring 2 goals and taking the record for most World Cup goals. Kind of like you alluded to, though, dude. Like Mbappe or Haaland's gonna pass that. Like, there's no way they don't, just with how things are going. But dude, this is shaping up to be one of the best golden boot races that we've had in a very long time. Usually it's one person running away with it, but Mbappe's on 4 goals already after 2 games. Messi's on 5. Haaland's on 4 as well, which we'll talk Haaland, so I'll kind of save it. But dude, he shows up to the World Cup and just like turns it on, like just absolutely turns it on. Just the sign of a great player. But I don't know if you have anything as a Ronaldo fan. I don't know if you have anything to say about Messi, obviously taking the record and looking really good for Argentina right now. Didn't know if you had any
not
2
at all.
cents.
The first goal was a thing of beauty for sure.
Yeah.
I just think it's impressive how like all the Argentina play, like they just look. It's almost like they're trying to feed Messi to score, which like a lot of people and like mainly Ronaldo fans, they're like, oh, like they're just trying to feed Messi and blah blah blah. I'm like, why would you not? Like,
Yeah,
I would be
when
trying
he's
to
doing
feed him
that.
too. So yeah, I kind of get why they're trying to do that, because he's still a pretty clinical finisher even at his age. But going back to like the record thing, I was so enjoy this, but like one of the many reasons that I don't like this expanded World Cup is because not only do you get like kind of trash teams, but like all of the old records, like they're not going to mean anything. And like once we have 2 or 3 World Cups of like this level and size, because not only do you have more games, so you have more opportunities to score goals, but like also you have so many like bad teams. Like Messi scored a hat trick against Algeria, like Haaland and Mbappe are scoring against Iraq and Tunisia, and like Ronaldo scoring a couple, like we'll get to him, but like couple against Uzbekistan. Like so many of these records are going to be not empty, but like they're just going to feel different. It's kind of like, in the NFL when they went to the 17th game or whatever, like so many of the records are kind of going to be thrown up into disarray for sure, which is a little bit sad, I think, but we're going to have some crazy numbers in a couple World Cups for sure. But yeah, basically, the second goal by Messi was kind of a funny one, just kind of pinging the ball around. But did you? I was gonna ask you this. Did you think that at the first goal, the foul that was leading up to that, did you think that was a foul, or you think that was soft? Because everybody's gonna make a big deal about it because it's Argentina and whatever. But did you remember that?
No, I don't. I'm not. I'm blanking on what you're talking about.
So it was a little bit earlier in the play, but basically Alexis McAllister kind of went in from behind on one of the Austria players.
Oh, yeah.
Could be considered a foul, could not. It was kind of up in the air on that one, but everybody was kind of screaming for VAR to pull that one back because it happened in the build-up or whatever, but obviously it wasn't. they didn't bring it back. But do
Yeah,
you
I
remember
did.
that? Did you have an opinion on that?
I don't remember actually watching it. I saw some clips about it, and I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of stuff being let go in this World Cup. I feel like even with the use of VAR and them like checking a lot of other things that seemingly don't really matter. So,
Mm-hmm.
I could have seen that being called. I could have seen that being taken back for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Would have that changed anything? Like Messi probably would have still tried to get two goals in this game somehow, some way. Obviously
Yeah.
missed a penalty as well, but I
Yeah, we
could have
didn't
seen it
talk
been
about that.
given. Yeah, I
That was pretty bad.
I
He put on
it was
goal,
pretty
dude.
bad. A lot of people were saying he missed it, so he didn't get the record on a
Yeah,
penalty,
I
and I'm
saw
just
that.
like, I don't think that's really the case. Like, if you have if you have a chance for a hat trick, like with that penalty, it would have been a hat trick, a more impressive way to
Yeah.
break the record. But,
Right.
yeah, that penalty did not look good for whatever reason. But,
And the
yeah,
people were talking about like Argentina corruption and like the penalty like not being I was like, I will be the first person to like scream and yell about Argentina corruption and FIFA and all this stuff, but like that was a pretty clear penalty if you're
yeah,
really
yeah,
like come on people like
for sure.
sandwich the guy, dude, barely got the ball like on the way out kind of thing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but
definitely,
yeah, another
definitely,
couple for
yeah.
Messi here.
Another couple for Messi, another couple for Holland as well versus Senegal, 3-2. This was a fantastic game too. Senegal getting one late to make it really interesting late on in the game. Norway had used all their subs and they had a player go down. He had to go out for a minute. They were playing. It's kind of weird with like the new rules now. It's almost like hockey with like some power plays. Like if the training staff comes on, the player has to come off for a minute. So now you're playing down 10 men for like an actual like allotted amount of time, not just when the ref like waves you back on. So but Norway find a way to get it done. They get out of the group for how long's it been since Norway? It was like 1990 something, right? It's been a long
Yeah.
time since they were in a World Cup, and
Yeah,
they
something like that. I don't have
find
the stat.
themselves getting through. They will play France on the last day for the group. That game will be
Banger.
incredible. I hope. Either way it will. Like I would just love to see Mbappe and Haaland go band for band in that game. Whoever scores the most in that game wins it. That would be absolute cinema, but we'll see how it ends up. Obviously France have the better team, but Norway's looking pretty good.
Yeah, definitely looking very, very good. I think I said this last pod, but I think Norway have the just right the makeup of players that can just make some noise in this World Cup. Kind of the Croatia of the last couple cycles that we've
Yeah.
had. Um
Yeah.
couple world-class players, but then just a bunch of just really good players that are just really solid. Just have the makeup to maybe go far. Martin Odegaard, I don't even recognize this man, dude. Like, I texted a couple of my Arsenal buddies. I was like, look what happens when he's given free reign to actually go forward and he's not told to recycle the ball on every counterattack opportunity he has.
Right?
Like dude, even the dribbling, I don't know if you saw like some of the second half stuff he was doing. I was like, this man, like, where's this been? Like,
Yeah.
he was playing really, really well. So, Norway made it, or Senegal made it a little bit interesting towards the end. Ismail Assar, by the way, couple really nice goals here by him, but a little bit too little, too late. Erling Haaland, obviously, chasing a hat trick as well. Interesting what you were saying about Mbappe and Haaland kind of dominating the World Cup, leaderboards over the next when their careers are done. I think Holland will be there just because of how many games he'll probably play in it. But Mbappe definitely has the head start on him, like just starting when he was like 18, having a couple
Yeah.
already. So, and Norway hasn't been like the stalwart, team that they probably will be. That, I mean, I assume as long as Holland's around, they'll probably be qualifying. But he's already 25, so maybe two more for him. We'll see how his body holds up. I assume well because he's an absolute Viking of a human being. But
Dude, specimen.
I guess I could see where Mbappe would pip him there, but really really good game overall. This is Holland's like the only one that Joy actually likes to watch because she like hears that he eats like super super clean and is like super aware of his body and all that. So she's interested by him, I guess. So yeah, good game. I like watching this Norway team for sure. I think they could surprise some people for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Someone that's surprising people, Ghana versus England today.
Yeah.
This is kind of one that was slated as like going to be a test for England, but people assume that they would get past them, win the game, get all 3 points. Was not to be. Ghana is one of those teams that I would not want to play. They're kind of in that dark horse realm right now. Kind of what people thought Senegal was going to be, even though Senegal is kind of having some off-field stuff going on right now with their federation and not paying players and coaches and stuff like that. That's a discussion for another time. But I do not think it's coming home if England's going to be playing like this the rest of the World Cup. What do you have to say about this result?
Yeah, like you were saying, it was going to be a test, but one that you'd think that England would be able to score a couple goals maybe in the end and be able to prevail. But yeah, big props to Ghana. It's not the end of the world for England at all. Still, a win and a tie going into a last group game against Panama, which you'd probably back them to get a dub there and top the group. But yeah, just weren't able to get those clinical finishes in the final third. Ghana did a great job at just kind of neutralizing Harry Kane. Every time he came close to shooting the ball, they would just kind of all converge, and they really blocked most of the shots that I saw that Harry Kane had, just really not be giving him much opportunity. And usually Harry Kane is really good at just dropping, almost all the way into the midfield and kind of creating as well. I was expecting once they started converging on him so much that he'd try to lay it off to Jude Bellingham or maybe one of the wingers and fake shot, go outside or pass or do something like that. But he was really just intent on trying to shoot the ball, which obviously didn't really work out very well for England in the end. But like I said, not the end of the world for England at all. Maybe more of a learning opportunity. So
yeah, another game that will be really good. The last game of the group stage, Ghana versus Croatia for second place in that group.
I was going to say that too. That's going to be a banger.
Going to be a banger of the game. We'll talk about Croatia real quick.
Croatia's under them right now, so
yeah, that's going to be a really, really good game. And both of those teams I could see, again, we're used to Croatia, they made that run back in, was it 2018? Yeah, it was 2018 when they made that run, and they've kind of always just been like that dark horse European type of team. And so, yeah, that's going to be a really, really good game, Ghana versus Croatia on the last day of that group. Very quickly, before we touch on Croatia, before we get out of here, Portugal get back to their winning ways against Uzbekistan. Ronaldo with 2 goals. He enters the chat. Yeah, this is a huge... He enters the chat. That's all I saw today. That's why I had to say it. Everyone's like, Ronaldo's entered the chat with his 2 goals while everyone's sitting on 4 and 5 in the golden boot race. But no,
right.
they looked really good today. They looked really good. They moved the ball well. Obviously, Uzbekistan was in a low block, and they just found ways to pull them apart. That's where their midfield really came in huge and was able to be creative in the final third and find openings that they were able to put 5 past Uzbekistan. But what do you got to say about your boy Ronaldo in Portugal, looking like the team that could actually win this whole thing, huh?
Yeah, better late than never for Grandpa Ronaldo over there. We'll let it slide this time, I guess. But yeah, finally looking like the team that they should have looked like in the first game. I mean, from the first minute, you could just tell this was basically a completely different team. I think sitting Bernardo Silva was probably the best thing for him, because the only place that he can really slot in is that right wing, and that's not his best position. So playing Joao Felix, I think, dude, Joao Felix has had quite the resurgence the last couple of years. He's turned into a really spicy player, which he always was, but just never really panned out. But yeah, obviously quality from the very beginning, getting an early goal obviously helped a lot to just kind of open things up. Uzbekistan, obviously not a great opponent, but it was really great to see Portugal just... I was able to watch the whole game just because where I was, they had it on and everything, but just super smooth, dude. Like the passing and everything. Like I don't know where that was the first game, but even just the playing out of the back, like I'm not sure if you probably don't remember this specifically, but like Joao Neves had it like in his own third on the corner, and he like did this like cool little backspin pass to Bruno Fernandes, who's like just clipping it over to like Vitinha, who's also playing in a ball to Joao Felix, and they're on the counter. It's super pretty ball to watch when they really get going, and yeah, like Ronaldo finally coming to the party was cool to see as well. And when he gets to service, man, like, I mean, he's gonna put him in the back of the net. So Bruno Fernandes played so much better too, and like I said, I just never understood why they just kind of sat back that entire first half of the first game and just passed it around, when they so clearly have the quality to score 5 or 6 goals against these kind of teams. So it's good to see them finally getting their mojo back, which kind of insignificant in the whole thing, but Uzbekistan had a goal called back that might have been a candidate for goal of the tournament if it had stood, but unfortunate for them, but good stuff for the Portuguese going forward.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what also hurts Ronaldo a little bit too is that he's playing that central striker position and he doesn't drop deep like a Harry Kane or even Holland drops, but not too much for Norway. Holland stays up high too. But for Norway, Holland's like the focal point. Like he's obviously their best player. And I'm not saying Ronaldo's bad, but he's definitely surrounded by younger and at this moment better players. So like there's so much more depth to their team. Where then you got Messi, who's obviously playing in more of a central midfield type of role, a number 10 role. So like obviously he's going to be on the ball more, and Mbappe plays out on the wing. So or he plays central striker, but he floats everywhere. What I'm trying to say is it's just like the way that Portugal plays. Like a lot of people are throwing hate at Ronaldo, like, oh yeah, he didn't score this and that, but it's like he is very dependent in this system on getting service opposed to the other ones, like where it's like they're on the ball, or if you're Holland, he plays like Harry Kane where he'll drop and get on the ball, but like he is the best player on that team where Ronaldo might not be, and he needs the service to be serviceable.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, honestly. And like basically since he left United, like and obviously he's been a striker for what, 7, 8 years now, whatever it is, but like he was able to create before that, but really for like the last 2 or 3 years, like he is like a striker that's like almost strictly a poacher. He can come back and like tie up, the loose ends a little bit with passing, but for the most part, he is basically just a target man in the box who, like, you give him half an opportunity, he's going to score. But the fact that people, like you said, still kind of expect him to like do this stuff that maybe he was doing like early Madrid days, or like in his Man United day, like first stint at Man United days and things like that, like that's just stupid, and like not like he's going to need service. And like with the amount of world-class players that he has around him, he should be getting a decent amount of chances every game, which is why the Congo tie was so pathetic. It was like everyone is obviously going to hate on Ronaldo because he's Ronaldo, but like he got 2 like half chances in that game. Obviously he maybe could have scored 1, maybe not, whatever. But like the amount of chances that were provided for him, given the amount of world-class players that they has around them now, and the opposition that they were playing, it was way more on the rest of the team for not really giving him the opportunities than it was on Ronaldo. Because like you said, with especially for the national team, when you got the likes of Vitinha and Neves and Bruno Fernandes and some of their wingers and stuff, like Ronaldo, not only is he probably not their best player, but he doesn't need to be. So like they just need to provide him with the because he's still their best striker, believe it or not. Gonzalo Ramos, he had that one good game in the World Cup last game, and people are still asking, should Ronaldo start? It's like, no, he's still by far their best striker that they have to put up there. So, I kind of agree with what you're saying overall for sure. Oh.
Yeah, we'll see if Portugal. This was a way to get them going and see if their quality shines through, because on paper they have one of the best, if not the best, starting group in the entire tournament. So if they can really turn it on, there's no reason that they can't win the whole thing. And I will be man enough to say that I wouldn't mind seeing Ronaldo get one too. He's given a lot to the game, and just being able to grow up in this era with Messi and Ronaldo, it kind of would be fitting to see him get one before everything's said and done too. So it'll be interesting to see. Both Argentina and Portugal look super, super good. I know there's a world where there's either a quarter or a semifinal where they would meet, and that would be what every soccer fan would want to see before they both retire.
I think they both have to top their group, and they would meet in the quarters.
Gotchas. All right. You're better with that. I don't keep up with all that. I just watch the games and enjoy the ride. But I'm not as analytical as you are, which is why I have my job and you have yours. That's how it works. But before we get out of here, Croatia, slim win against a Panama side that hasn't won at all. A decent Panama side, but I was actually thinking today, there isn't this like set group of death. I feel like all the groups are fairly like, I wouldn't say even. There's definitely
Because there's so
like
many crap teams.
I know, but there's definitely like easier groups. But I was looking at like the Panama, Croatia, Ghana, and England.
I would agree.
I would say if we had to pick a group of death, it would be this one because Panama is a scrappy side. Obviously, they're probably not going to make it out. I think they're eliminated after this loss, anyways. But Ghana and Croatia playing for second, or technically could be first. Anyways, I'm getting off here. Croatia getting past Panama, huge win to set up a huge game against Ghana that we alluded to. What are your feelings on Croatia? Do you think they have enough in the tank to get out of this group and make a little bit of a deeper run?
Get out of the group, yes. Run, probably not.
I agree.
A lot of the main reasons for their kind of Cinderella runs these last few tournaments that they've had are getting a little bit older. Modric now in his year 40 season now for him. Still quality for sure, but you can tell he's just not, he can't, poor guy, he can't even last 90 minutes for the most part anymore. He's usually getting subbed or getting subbed on. So unfortunately, I don't really see this Croatia team going too far. They still have some quality players. I think they can kind of be one of those scrappy teams maybe, but a deep run, I don't think that's in the cards for them, at least not this World Cup.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more. Definitely have the firepower to get out of the group against like a Ghana or whatever. But any further than that, depending on who they end up drawing and if they don't end up winning the group, they'll end up probably playing somebody who's pretty good. So yeah, the days of Croatia making those deep runs Luka Modric's super old. It was kind of surprising that he was making it to this World Cup as well. So
Yeah.
I think he also said that he's retiring after this World Cup when it's all said and done. So
For Croatia, right? I think he's still going to play for Milan one more year.
yes, I believe that's correct. For Croatia, he's definitely done because there's no way that he's making it to another World Cup in 4 years. So, but yeah, that's kind of a very long but quick rundown on all of the games that happened this past week. Obviously, we have a few more left. And then we will have the last games going down all next week as well. But yeah, I think that's a pod, Sammy.
That is a pod.
A nice long one once again. Like we said, with the World Cup in full swing, these ones are going to tend to be a little bit longer just with so much going on. And we absolutely love it. And I hope everybody's keeping track with it in the U.S. on home soil and getting super excited about the prospect of the USA having a decent pathway and playing super well. But if you guys could, we appreciate you guys for tuning in again this week. If you guys could go hop on over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts, rate us, follow us there, and as always, like and subscribe on the video here on YouTube. We would appreciate that a ton. Until the next one, peace.